I'm saying that now. We're going live.
We're going live.
We're live.
Going
Good
live.
afternoon. Welcome to the Grace
Hi.
Westminster live stream. Hi. From a very soggy London. It's very, very soggy. I can see that that is the general consensus countrywide and possibly even planet-wide, except for AM, who's in Egypt, where it's warm. And Andy, who's in Australia, where it's also warm. Send a bit of that our way, please.
Can I have a camera, please? I just want to...
We just need to
clarify something.
We need to debunk a myth.
The myth. Okay.
So Constantine is in the cover image holding a camera, and no, you're right. It reverses it.
So it's all optical illusion.
Yeah, because we were trying to understand like why you're all commenting on the fact that it was a left-handed camera, but actually it's because the image normally gets reversed. I suppose it's like you were holding it in selfie mode. I don't know.
Well, thank you, Becky, for clarifying this.
You're welcome. So I am Becky Denesi.
Konstantin Kochkin.
For anyone who doesn't know, if you are not a subscriber, please subscribe. The usual, hit the bell icon, it's down there somewhere. If you'd like to contribute to the coffee fund, it would be very much appreciated because it's blimmin' freezing today, and you can do so using the super chat icon. Oh,
my coffee mug is empty right now.
But then you're going to prepare it. I still don't have mine, so one of these days we're going to get a Grace Westminster mug, and then I will be able to bring mine along too. So today we're talking about, well, we're speculating about the Z6 and Z7 Mark II.
They kind of dropped a bombshell.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. In fact, funny story. Someone called me up on, I think it was Wednesday, and said, can I put my name down for the Z7 Mark II? And I said, well, the what? He said, the Z7 Mark II, Nikon have put a countdown on their website. And then I went onto the website and there was the countdown. So that just goes to show how much we got told.
Like, look, I'm sorry, we couldn't leak it to Nikon rumors way in advance.
Yeah, but someone did. Someone leaked something to Nikon rumors, so we're going to speculate on what we think these new cameras are going to have. We have about 12 days until the official announcement.
Yes,
so
the wait is nigh.
Not next Thursday, but the Thursday after, is that right? Did I do the maths on that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm better with math.
Wednesday or Thursday. So we're going to sort of look at what specs we think the cameras might have, and we're also going to ask you what your sort of ideal specs are and see what you think is going to happen with these two cameras. So the Z6 and Z7 came out, I remember the announcement was in September.
Yes.
And it was September 2018? Must have been.
It was.
Okay. And we went to the design museum. That was back when we were allowed to do stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
That was so cool.
It?
So the Z announcements were in the design museum in Kensington, and we got to have a little play with the cameras there, and they had people...
Oh yeah, they had the fences.
They had fences, they had a bride and groom, they had models, they had these like BMX stunt guys.
Oh, that's right.
You can't do stuff like that anymore, it's really sad. But, so we're not going to get the same kind of launch experience, I don't think. But, by the looks of things, Nikon are kind of going to put the launch online.
For the new world, new cameras.
That's right. So we won't be able to necessarily test them out at a launch event, but hopefully we'll get whatever they are in our hands pretty soon. Look, someone contributed to the coffee fund. Thank you, Terry. Thank you very, very much. It's coffee for Con specifically. It's not for me today. There was no announcement of this live stream. I think we scheduled it really late, like 10 minutes before the stream. So apologies if you... No, 20 minutes before the stream.
20,
I have you know.
Not 10.
So I'm sorry if you didn't get an announcement earlier on in the day. But anyway, here we are. So
2 years have passed. And we are up for upgrades. So let's have a look at that. What I'm thinking. So obviously we thought they're done with this year. They're not going to announce anything else. And here we are.
Yeah. I was pretty confident that they weren't going to announce a camera this year.
I was about to take a holiday.
I told a bunch of people, nah, next year, that's when it's going to happen. That was what I thought. Because Nikon had said, when they announced the 14-24 and the 50, they were like...
That's it.
That's it for Z lenses. That's what they said.
That's right.
But
clever. Clever.
It was very, very clever. So I was like, that's it for Z lenses. We're not going to see anything else for the rest of the year.
So the question is, did they know about the announcement, the Nikon UK?
I actually think they did. No, I'm gonna... Okay, so our Nikon rep said to me, I might have some exciting news for you in a few weeks. And now, exciting news could mean so many things. It could mean... Oh, thank you, Ian, for your contribution to the Coffee Fund.
Thank you.
Exciting to our dear Nikon rep could mean, you know, that they're going to give us some cleaning cloths that have a Nikon logo on them. It could mean a number of things, right? So I didn't really read much into that. And because I definitely wasn't expecting an announcement now for the rest of the year, I didn't have a clue. But of course, they must have known something, because I don't think she would have said it otherwise.
And they've looked at us with a straight face and said nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll mark it down.
Yeah, exactly.
So just,
black mark.
You know, my memory is really good.
They didn't tell us anything. So, so 2 years is kind of... Between 2 and 3 years is the normal progression.
Yeah.
For upgrades. But because the Zs were the first of their kind for Nikon.
That's right.
I suppose waiting 2 years rather than any longer makes a lot of sense, particularly when there were so many people asking for some very specific things. What did you get asked most for? What did when people were saying what's the next thing?
You know what we normally have is like, oh, there are no 2 card slots.
Yeah.
You know, that was, I think, the main one. Mm-hmm. So because everyone was happy that they finally released something, and the releases were quite competitive. Even with the cameras that were out at the time, they were really good. Yeah. So the main 2 things we had is 2 memory card slots and the autofocus performance.
Yes. Thank you to whoever that was. Thank you to Adrian for your contribution to the Coffee Fund. That's brilliant.
So,
it's coffee for me.
According to Nikon rumors, since we don't know anything, obviously, we're gonna have second memory card slot.
So basically, people asked, Nikon delivered. That's the idea. Like that's
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Excellent. So, but do you think it's going to be dual XQD?
Well, I think probably XQD CF Express, since it's the same shape and form.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much it. Or they could potentially have XQD / SD card slot, because SD is much smaller.
That's true, and then it wouldn't increase the form factor.
Yeah.
If they did that.
And according to the rumors as well, they're pretty much going to look the same, pretty much identical to the previous models.
So what they might do, because now that we've got the Z5 and we've seen that they can incorporate a dual card slot into the Z5 without increasing the size of the body too much, all they've done really is they've deepened the grip slightly. So it's added about 40 grams of weight to do that, or 20.
Technology has advanced so much that in 2 years they can put second memory card slot.
Well, if they did, I think they would have to minimally do 1 XQD slot.
Yeah.
Because based on the other rumoured specs, it doesn't make sense for it to go back to SD.
Yes.
That would then kind of make it a less professional body, and I think Nikon are trying to move more professionals into the Z lineup. That makes the most sense.
Since we have Z5 now for enthusiasts, I think the idea is there to move Z6 and Z7 into more professional territory.
Right, and then that would also kind of make the price gap between the Z5 and the Z6 Mark II even greater. So then when you're trying to make a decision as to what mirrorless camera to buy, there's a more clear-cut choice. Because at the moment, the Z5 is very close to the Z6. There's still a big difference between the 6 and the 7, but they're very different cameras, as I've talked about before. Now, interesting enough, 1000 Main Man says he has the Z6, would like improved AF tracking and 2 card slots. Yep, okay, I agree with that. Michael says it's pouring in the East Midlands.
Same here.
So, let's see. Hector's keeping his D850 and D500. That's fair enough.
That's a good.
Doing no sheep in London today, Norm. really like struck a chord. Me being in the supposed Peak District there.
How was your hiking, by the way?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was grey and overcast and horrible, actually. And I didn't take a long lens. Funnily enough, just to kind of touch back briefly on last week's stream. I don't know what's going on there. Is our picture frozen?
Are we live?
What happened?
Just frozen.
It froze. That's exciting. But we still got sound. Is the camera on?
No, we cannot hear you.
Is the battery?
Is the battery on? Everything is on.
Just. All right. We're streaming again, so let's see what happens. It's just refreshing. It's just going to take...
Stream.
No, it's not.
It's not?
Nope, it's part of the same... It's part of the same. It's just going to get... we're back.
No,
John says we're back. Gonna take your word for it. Are you upstream? Norm asks if we're live streaming with a Z6. It's time to upgrade to the Z6.
Ah, we're live. Okay. I was still frozen.
Oh, goodness me. That was fun. Never had that happen before.
We had about half an hour conversation that has not been recorded.
We've covered all the points now. We've got nothing else
we're pretty much moving on towards FM2.
Okay, what was I saying? I've lost my train of thought. Hiking.
Hiking.
Okay,
How was your hiking?
So it was grey and miserable, but I will say I didn't take my own advice. I took one lens. I took I took a short zoom, thinking I was going to stick with landscapes, and then I really, really wished that I'd brought a telephoto with me. And actually, Steve, who's a regular viewer and contributor, also said he sent me an email and said exactly the same thing. He said he took a short lens, should have taken a long lens. I think we've all decided you should take a long lens when you go hiking.
So basically, Becky shot everything on iPhone.
No, I didn't. No,
and that's really much.
I shot everything on the Z50 with the little 16-50, which was good.
So we were talking about 2 memory cards.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then we were talking about professional features. So they're trying some of those cameras into professional segments. So
yes.
What I think is going to happen is something similar to D800 and D810 release, where the first one was kind of, okay, we're going for the high-res studio camera, and then D810 added a few more things just to make the camera a little bit faster.
Yes, and also, I mean, overall, the experience of using a D810, as I've mentioned before, is much easier. Like the buffered shutter mechanism and mirror makes a huge amount of difference. Obviously, with mirrorless cameras, it's a different thing for us, really. It's more like 1,000 Main Man said vertical grip with buttons, please.
Yes.
Wasn't there a mention?
That's been rumored, and that's again a professional feature. So if you're looking at that, the rumor is they're going to have 2 processors. Speed process. So I guess one is for the image and another one is for autofocus.
Like in the D5 and D500.
D5 and D500.
Right.
We're going to have additional grip. So that's another thing. And
with buttons on it.
With buttons on it. You can actually take pictures with it. Which
amazing.
No one thought of it before. And finally, hopefully,
breaking.
We're going to have it. Again, technology has advanced.
It really has.
I think we are kind of, it's like welcome to the world of tomorrow. But then we're going to have improved autofocus. Well, according to rumors, again. So I guess maybe having a second processor that is responsible for autofocus
would fix those big major issues.
Exactly.
Because it's funny because Sam says maybe the problems have been addressed with the Mark II instead of a Z8, Z9 model. Now, a lot of people had put their names down for a flagship Z camera, expecting it to be like a D6 but in mirrorless form. Yeah. 14 frames per second, incredibly insane fast autofocus, unlimited buffer, that kind of thing. I don't know if they'd necessarily go that far with the Z6 Mark II. And the Z7 Mark II, because of its resolution, I think there will be limitations to that. But what I also wondered was if they will bring... Because the Z6 is already kind of known for its video quality.
Yes.
So the Z6 Mark II... we're hoping improved video quality.
It should be even better.
Yeah, but the Z7's always been kind of cast aside because of its line skipping method.
Yeah, it's downsampling, therefore, you might get a bit of moire and other things.
So I wonder if they've somehow, with the dual processor, maybe they've also worked out a way to improve the video quality of the Z7 so that you could shoot with that?
But to be honest with you, I think it's to do with the processor more than anything else.
Yeah.
What we hear, though, that they both will have 4K at 60 frames per second.
Right.
So that is going to be, I guess that's something that the new processor will allow. It's just to be able to handle so much data per second.
Yeah, and the I suppose the recording limit as well. And now, interestingly enough, someone who shoots a lot of video, who's one of my clients, said, why don't Nikon remove the recording limitations of 29 minutes, 59 seconds? Because, of course, in order to do that, you have to have an external hard drive, external monitor, like an Atomos, like a Ninja, whatever the current one is. Flame?
No,
5?
The 5. Yeah,
5, that's 5. The one. So he was saying the legislation, it used to be, the law was, if your stills camera shot longer than 29 minutes, 59 seconds, it was taxed differently. So
it's a higher tax.
So all of the kind of imaging companies that weren't producing sole purpose video cameras would limit their recording time to 29 minutes, 59 seconds. That law on the tax was actually abolished a couple of years ago.
Is that so?
Yeah. So it's
Huh.
no longer an EU law that you have to pay more for those. So there's no logical reason why Nikon wouldn't include it, except for the fact that they just, maybe someone hasn't twigged that information yet.
Maybe everyone should write an email to
Maybe.
Nikon.
I'd like to let you know that actually it can be a longer recording time.
2018.
Yeah, it was about
Yeah.
then. So that isn't an issue anymore. I don't personally think that Nikon will increase the recording time. I just don't see them doing it. I
That's
think
true.
that they would want to sell the optional extras because they have a kind of team up with Atomos.
But at the same time, it's not produced by them. So
No, it's true.
That's another thing. But at the moment, yeah, it seems like it's going to be either Atomos Ninja 5 or Shogun or some other manufacturer that will allow you to record to external device to just bypass that limitation.
Yeah, and I wonder, I mean, if they're doing the dual card slots, then also you'll end up with extra memory, so you could, if you had unlimited recording time...
You could have twice the data.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I don't think they're going to do it, but I'd be intrigued to know if they did. I think it would actually maybe convert a couple of people who've been on the sidelines about the Zs for video work.
Yeah.
It might then convince them to go that way for
I
video
mean, we are seriously considering Z6s as our kind of to-go cameras for video
Main
production,
cameras.
and even this stream is being recorded on Z6 at the moment.
Yeah, it's not the camera's fault that we froze. I don't know why we froze. It's okay that you were late, Joy. You missed the fact that we froze. So, didn't miss anything.
That was the best part.
That's the best part of the stream. Now, just to look at some of the sort of supposed, sorry, I'm trying to read the comments while also talking. Some of the things that you would like to see. David says manual shutter speed of up to 15 minutes like the D7II.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And to be honest with you, this is a firmware update. Really, it's not any hardware or anything like this. So I potentially think that they should just apply to all current cameras, including the Z6s.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
7s.
They could do a firmwer update which would include that. I think that it wouldn't be complicated at all. Ian's with me. He always takes the wrong lens. Now, Nigel's saying one with buttons that you can shoot with. That's the grip.
That's the grip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want one that you can actually do something with apart from just hot swap the batteries.
It's not just a grip. It's a grip with buttons. This is important.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I'm waiting for everyone to trade in their Z7 so I can afford a used one. That's fair
That's
enough.
where
Great.
I'm at.
So that's where we were with the Z6s.
They're like,
Bring us your Z6s, everybody. So Michael hopes that they announce the 28mm compact lens. Based on what they said to me, I don't think we're going to see any more lens announcements. I could be wrong.
on Christmas Day, they're just going to release one. Why not?
That's right. But I do like the idea of that compact lens very much. I've used the 24-50 a fair amount, which is...
Yeah, how's it?
It's fine.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a tidy little lens. You don't, it's not, you're not expecting exceptional results from it, but...
It's very pocketable, isn't it?
But you can kind of carry that around in one bag, not in a pocket. It's a bit too big for that.
Oh, if you've got big pockets.
Yeah,
You know,
really big
if
pockets.
you're a skateboarder,
That's right. What?
I'm thinking. A graffiti person.
Someone has big pockets. Anyway, stop there. Kevin says, when hiking, take the 24-200 and shoot at f8. This reduces weight and saves John's wife's back.
Yes.
This is true.
Oh, John's wife.
Oh, yeah,
We all saying thank you for the last couple of streams.
For that.
Yes.
The 24-200 stopped down to f8.
Stops down to f8.
No, but I mean in terms of how... You've actually used it.
It's really good. It's really good.
Thanks.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but shall I spoil it?
Well, because you're going to be doing a review video.
Yeah.
You're doing a review video on that one.
Yeah. So, well, it's really good.
Okay.
I would say if you're happy with 24-70 f4, it's pretty much the same size and weight. It's actually almost as good as a 4. So it's very, very portable.
Yes.
I'd say,
Yeah,
if
exactly.
you're thinking between the two, buying, let's say, 24-74, 24-200 at a full price, not a kit price, then just go for 24-200 if you can get one.
Fair enough. When they're more readily available, I might just do that. I haven't actually tried it yet, so that's why I had to defer to you to know what
it's nice.
What
it's
like.
nice. It's optically sharp. Well, as good as 24-70. Corner sharpness, that's where f4 is better.
Right.
But
you've
even
got so much more range. So
that's the thing. At 200mm, I normally shoot with primes.
Yeah.
I don't really like, my longest lens is 105.
Right.
So with this lens, I was pretty much shooting at 200mm all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, squirrel, and just going there. It's as a hiking lens, I would say it's good.
So potentially that could be a good solution for your hiking needs. Kazi says a bit of an outlier perhaps. Multiple exposure raw output like the D850 would be great for me. That's interesting. I've never really thought about that before, but I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it should be fairly easy to implement. The way they would approach is basically creating two JPEGs and sandwiching them together.
Exactly.
I think it may require a fast processor to just sandwich two large files together. So I think that could be it.
That could be possibly what it is. Because I remember when I did the multiple exposure live stream way back when we were doing it from home, I noticed the D850 was producing raw files and the Z6 was producing JPEGs, and I was like, oh, okay.
Technically, they have the same process, so technically it should be fine, isn't it?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. So Michael says the Z6II will be dual XQD. 4K, 60p, 1080, 120. Nothing too crazy.
Straight from the source.
That's right.
You got it right here.
Thanks, Michael. Mirrorless battery technology would be the weak link if they removed the 29-minute file limitation. That's a very good point, Norm. Yes, the battery life is a bit of an issue, but...
Overheating as well.
And overheating, which is what we've heard a lot of.
Some other brands.
That
release the RF series cameras.
That's right.
We've heard something there, yeah.
Where they've had overheating issues shooting 4K at 60 with unlimited recording time.
People frying eggs on them. And, all sorts of things.
Exactly. So yeah, overheating and battery life could be an issue. One of the things that the Z5 has that the 6 and the 7 don't have is the USB shoot while you're charging.
Oh, that's right.
Incredibly useful feature. It's unbelievable that up until now we've had to have a dummy battery and an external battery pack in order to shoot while charging, if you like.
That would cost you about £150 as well.
Yeah, exactly. And those parts aren't easy to get hold of at the moment, as some people will attest to having ordered them and not had them yet. Yeah. So having sort of USB charge functionality, but also being able to maintain the camera being on, that could be a way around also the video issue.
Yeah, so you will need the new battery, the EM-EL15C with it.
Good point.
So for this functionality, but this one will come with the camera when you buy it.
Yeah, exactly. They won't not put a 15C in there. Let's put it that way. It's the latest battery. Yeah. Thank you to Gary for the help to keep you warm coffee. Is it? You're going to put some coffee in that cup now. Okay, good. While you're doing that, I'm going to read the other speculation. So, don't put the thing right next to the microphone, otherwise everybody goes deaf.
Would you like some?
No, thank you. In your thermos. So, Hector said, not relevant to the news, but I'd like to see a video about 12-bit RAW and 14-bit RAW and how it actually affects the dynamic range of the images in real-world usage. That's very niche, but I quite like it. It's quite geeky.
That's one to put in the bucket list. Okay.
I would like to do that, yeah. Okay,
Hector, thank you. Yeah, we'll think about it. Yeah, absolutely.
I will.
Once we learn how to shoot videos, we will get there.
Okay, so Dennis talks about the grip and the dual slot. I think that the dual slot weirdly holds a lot of people back, as Dennis has pointed out. I personally don't see it as a massive problem.
It doesn't hold you back?
It doesn't hold me back.
No.
But I can understand people who maybe don't like the idea of just relying on one card, so potentially that could solve that for a lot of people.
Realistically speaking, for, let's say, enthusiasts, one memory card slot doesn't make any difference. Of course, if you're a professional photographer, if you're shooting a commercial job, you definitely want to have a backup. And that's just to do with you don't want your memory card to die on you. So let's say if you're shooting 2,000 shots like per wedding or something like this. So just to have this feature, it definitely will kind of, I would say, definitely will introduce a lot of professional photographers into the system.
I think so. And if the autofocus system is improved, then that's going to be the turning point for a lot of people. Now, official Mainspring says, where's he gone? Am I the only one happy with the Z6 as is? I mean, no, I think there's a lot of people who are happy. We're very happy with the Z6. I think that this is why I was quite surprised that they were doing an announcement, to be honest. I thought, it's not anything wrong with it. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's going to be, it's not going to be like a massive update, but it's kind of like they had D300 and D300S version where just, yes, the new one is going to be better, but it's going to come out at higher price.
Yeah.
So let's say at the moment, Z6 and the 7, they are below recommended retail prices quite a bit.
Yes.
So I think Z7 was about 3.5.
It was.
Something
when it
around
first came
that,
out,
and
yeah.
Z6 was about 2.5. So now they're a lot cheaper. So when the new cameras come out, they will be at least at this at the price I mentioned, but could be even higher.
Yeah.
So you can actually get a Z6 now and Z7 at a lot lower price.
Yeah, because it's like instead of 2.5 and 3.5, you're looking at closer to about 15 to 1700 for a Z6,
Yeah.
and 2,500 for a Z7, something like that.
Something around that, yeah.
We're supposed to be selling cameras and know the prices of this. I don't pay attention.
They change
to
all the
prices.
time.
They do.
But the idea is, if you really need these features like second memory card slot, unfortunately, yes, you have to go for the new model. But people who are waiting for mirrorless cameras and didn't want to get in, they can now pick up Z6 and Z7 at a discount pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it might convert a few people who have been on the fence about the mirrorless cameras. I'd be interested to know if any of you were using other brands before. Let's say you changed over to Nikon in the last couple of years or something like that. If you have done, drop me a comment. I'd be very, very interested to see who has changed over from another brand. I think maybe we can even make that a topic of a later stream, but
I think so.
it's interesting.
I have a question.
Yes.
Brian asked earlier, Brian Liming, interesting to imagine what Nikon have done that can't be done by an upgrade.
Right, yeah, so what do they physically have to do rather than changing firmware? Because
Besides the slot.
this is a good point, because when the Z6 and Z7 were first announced, Nikon made it very, very clear that they were going to keep improving the software through firmware upgrades. So the autofocus capabilities improved massively from the very first iteration of the Z6, and when they brought out those cameras, they made it very, very clear that a new firmware update would be coming to allow various things, and also the ProRes RAW video and stuff like that. All of that was through updates.
I think Nikon became a company that that's not just specialized on hardware anymore.
Yeah.
So as all other companies, they now have to develop a software. So a lot of it, I wouldn't say it's 50%, but it's a big chunk of it is a software upgrade. And as you say, we can see, let's say, from firmware version 1 to version 2 was a big jump in autofocus speed.
Massive.
They added the face recognition. They've added a dog recognition as well.
Yeah,
for me is the best feature.
Animal.
Yes. So in terms of this, we even just recently they released an update for Z6 and Z7. So I think we'll see a lot more features like this, because what Nikon tends to do, like with all the cameras, like D800, D810, they would release firmwares for about a year.
Yes.
And that's it. And then you kind of wait for another year for them to release a new camera.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we start to see that the firmware updates come out quite often. So we're looking at 2 to 3 months between each firmware update.
Yeah. So it is a sign of constant improvement on their part. I mean, other than the second card slot, actually having a second processor is something that they physically have to do.
Think about as well that the mirrorless cameras, they're a lot less moving parts.
Yes.
So it's not traditional SLR design. So effectively, it's like a little computer inside.
Yeah.
So a lot with this software nowadays.
Exactly. There was someone else that made, I'm just trying to find it because there's so many comments. I'm trying to read them as we're going along. I would want the Z7 Mark II to have 47 megapixels. I think that means
that will be the case, pretty much.
Any more and diffraction would set in at lower apertures. Yeah, because somebody earlier, I missed reading it out, but someone mentioned having 61 megapixels.
That's actually the Sony sensor is available, so there is a chance that they'll do that.
It's true. That would play havoc on 4K 60p.
That's another thing.
Like that
absolutely.
would, you'd probably put it on for about 10 seconds and then it would overheat. Thank you. To Duncan, thank you very much from Toronto, Canada, for your contribution to Coffee Fund. You have permission to drink your coffee. I will get mine immediately after the stream. Now, a couple of people are saying, please don't put SD cards in there. So, okay. I think that SD cards are quite accessible. They're quite easy to get hold of, which is possibly why they might go down that route.
But yeah, 2XQDs or CF Expresses would be nice, absolutely, especially for professional photographers.
Blimmin' expensive, though. Built-in Wi-Fi to send emails, pictures
to stream.
Directly like a mobile phone can do. Now that's interesting. I remember many, many moons ago, Nikon made a little Coolpix camera, which actually had this kind of, it was like a really early on internet. It might have actually not come out.
Did you replace your MacBook for a couple of years?
No, but I remember it was like a camera which had all the capabilities that a phone would have in terms of sending messages was way before Snapbridge existed and way before anything else.
You know, I'm thinking Cool Walker. Remember that thing?
Yeah.
The external hard drive with a little screen.
That's right. So it was something, they were always trying to do these things, but phones have ultimately replaced out the need to send images by email or to social media from your camera. More often than not, you'd want to transfer them to your phone first because you want to vet them. You might need to edit them a little bit. And also, I think you just have more control and the interface is much easier from a phone.
I want my Z7 to do online banking for me. Well, they're not going to have that feature.
No, certainly not. But it would be interesting to see if they can improve. I personally...
Yes.
Never have any problems with Snapbridge. The amount of people that I speak to that have problems with Snapbridge is unbelievable. But it's the magic touch. I just never ever have an issue with it. So I don't know.
Fortunately, lots of other things to do with your phone really than the camera. So
my old faithful iPhone 7, no problems with that one. But I would be intrigued if they can improve Snapbridge anymore. The pairing process is slightly painful. You do have to push join and OK. Like OK on the camera and join on the phone at exactly the same time in order to pair them up. And I think that a lot of people don't realise that. And so they only press it on one and not the other. And then it doesn't set up for them.
That's some wisdom.
It is. It's very important.
That's the life hack for you.
There you go. So the D2 and D3 had a shoot while AC powered option. Yeah, but you had to have the external cable. You couldn't just plug in any old thing. No, it needed a dummy battery, didn't it?
No.
Oh no, it had the socket.
You could charge inside the camera.
Yes.
But you couldn't have it as a C adapter.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Roy, for that. I think it's possible technology, and as the Z5 does it, I'm sure the Z6 and 7 will do it. Now. Yeah, have you got... I'm going to read the rest.
Well, I've got on my list of features,
yeah,
there's one that is called more buffer memory. And that means, I guess, we can shoot a lot more frames, a lot more seconds and continue shooting. So they're talking about higher frame rate as well at the same time. So I guess the new processor, new memory buffer will allow for that.
Yeah, because the Z6 already shoots 12 frames per second. So someone was saying maybe it'll go up to 20.
It could, because effectively Z6 outputs at 4K.
Mm-hmm.
So it's effectively like shooting video, but for raw footage. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's technically 20 frames is still going to be slower than, say, 24, 25 or 30 frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
And since the cameras are rumored to allow 60 frames per second, so I don't see why not.
No, exactly. Michael, just to answer your question, or to your statement about transferring pictures larger than 2 megapixels using Snapbridge, you just have to press the full size image option. It does actually transfer full RAW files now, but that was through an update done about 8 months ago.
Yeah.
So just make sure your Snapbridge is up to date, and then you can transfer RAW files if you want to, or full res files. I usually choose the 2 megapixel option for quick viewing because otherwise I'd run out of space.
Well, it's good for things like Instagram and other social media as well.
Exactly. Yeah. It's more than enough for the gram.
The gram.
I'm so cool. Always optionally record raw full frame large image, even when aspect ratio is set otherwise, to allow for more adjustment in post-processing, like other brands. Yes, exactly. So you might want to always, as a backup, shoot RAW on one slot and JPEG on the other.
Yep.
Something that we have in DSLRs. It would be fantastic if they could incorporate that. Roy says he bought a Sony A7 when it first came out and it died and he's relieved. It's like, that was it.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Sony camera. Okay, when will Nikon go to 16-bit images like the Hasselblad?
It's a difficult one. I think... I think it's just
bigger.
Hasselblad shoots at 16-bit.
Yeah, but it's a much bigger image area.
All right, users, the Fuji medium format, does it shoot 16-bit?
Oh.
I think it's only shoot at 14, the same as Nikon and other brands.
To know.
So I think, to be honest with you, it's probably not on their feature list, but maybe somewhere in the back.
That would be very interesting to know, actually. But again, it's a larger sensor, so I wonder if that has something to do with it. Roy is very much saying 16-bit is nothing like 14 or 12. Like, it's really good. So
and it's about 20 or 30,000 pounds more expensive as well.
There's that. There's that as well.
Little thing.
Nigel's asking, when do we get D850 CF Express update? I'm still waiting for Nikon to announce that.
I don't see why not.
Should have been out, I think,
like yesterday. Yeah.
last month or the month before, because
Yeah.
the D6 is CF Express enabled. Z6 and Z7 are CF Express enabled, aren't they? Didn't they get that update?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's actually just the D850 and I think D500, D5 we're waiting on. Those
Yeah.
three. That's definitely coming. It's just a matter of them doing it. Now, a few weeks ago, I said I've never seen a Nikon XQD card. And then Nikon have just started shipping us Z6s and Z7s with the option of having a Nikon XQD card in them as well. So if you are buying a brand new Z6 or Z7, there is a kit option which includes a memory card. It is the cost of a memory card. I think it probably saves you about £10 from buying it separately.
Yes.
But there they are. I had to eat crow on that one. So those have appeared in the UK now. Now, comment just popped up while I was trying to read the last comment. Do you think Nikon will do Z6, Z7 buyback to move sales? It's possible. I think what they'll more likely do is some kind of other incentive to go for a Mark II. I don't know. They might do
maybe enhanced part exchange or something
there you
like
go.
that.
Might do enhanced part exchange. It won't necessarily specifically be.
Yeah, I haven't seen any buyback feature from any camera manufacturers. So, to be honest with you, I don't think that will be the case as well. But some sort of enhanced part exchange, some sort of promotion to encourage current mirrorless users to upgrade, I'm sure they will do something like that.
Exactly. Terry, no, the D750 is not compatible with Snapbridge. It needs the older wireless mobile utility app, and then it will work with its Wi-Fi, because the D750 doesn't have Bluetooth, and Snapbridge is primarily a Bluetooth app. Colin says, I sometimes wonder what it would be like using my first SLR alongside my Z6. It was a Zenith E. Wow, goodness.
I had Zenith E.
Did you?
Yeah, that was my father's camera.
Oh,
and
wow.
I took it with me first time abroad in New York, and it failed on me within the first week.
Oh,
the
no.
shutter.
And so then you ended up with...
The Nikon F100
There you go.
after a couple of months. But I still have this camera, even if it's broken, but it kind of sits on the shelf and it's...
Oh, well, it
reminds
kind
me of good old
of
times.
nostalgic, isn't it?
Absolutely. Speaking of which, I shot film last week.
No.
Can you understand?
What did you shoot?
I shot streets.
What
I
film
shot
stock? I don't care about the
people.
subject.
I shot... I did a selfie now. That was a Fuji... something extra one...
Superior.
Xperia 400.
Oh, okay.
And it looked very well.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it came out all right.
Did it come out a bit green? I find it quite a
Came
green
out
film.
green, it came out grainy, but I think Snaps didn't do a good job
The
scanning it. So
400 ISO is always a tricky one as well. And sometimes I had some 400 film processed a couple of weeks ago, and it was super grainy. Way more than depends on the film.
that raw film also was from like 2001 or something.
Did you
like
find
this.
it in the fridge?
I found not in the fridge. I found it in Arctic. So I moved about 3 years ago. So I just climbed up there and I found one. And surprisingly, it was still okay.
It was okay, although it hadn't been in the fridge. It's amazing. Alan can't get Snapbridge to work. I'm sorry, Alan. I don't know what to say.
I mean,
It's hit and miss.
We generally, the problem there is, because it's not just the camera, it's also your phone. So a lot of it's to do with the Bluetooth setting on the phone. So the advice there for iPhone users, if you haven't connected your camera and the phone from the first time, then you need to go to Bluetooth settings on your phone and go to the device list, and it's highly likely that camera is going to be there. So you just need to click on it and then click forget device and restart the process again. So in most cases, this will solve the issue. The reason why it doesn't pair up second and third time, because it already thinks that the camera has been paired with the phone already. So you just need to forget device and then restart the process.
Yes, sorry. Did you mention the forget device in the settings as
in
well?
the settings, so you go to settings,
Yeah.
you go to Bluetooth settings, and then
Yes.
it will show you your device list of your Bluetooth devices. So then you highlight, let's say, Z6, and you click forget device. So,
Yes, exactly. I've had it with other Bluetooth things like my headphones and stuff like that. This is not the first person to mention it. Roy mentions FTZ with a screwdriver would be great.
I was like, FTZ with a screwdriver.
No, as in to power AFD lenses so that you actually get autofocus with those lenses.
I have a feeling that we will see it one day. Maybe not this year, maybe not next
this
year,
launch.
but I think if we're going to see the grip with buttons on it,
Then maybe we can see an FTZ with
that's the thing.
the screwdriver
it's
system.
just,
It's, the technology's there.
technology is there. Yeah. Well, it's been rumored that they had a prototype of it. So I think maybe in a couple of years, maybe they can make it down to a certain price point. Maybe I'm not sure what. I think that what we heard is it was too expensive to produce. I think that was kind of the line we heard.
The limitation. I don't know. I would love it if they did, though. It would kind of open up a huge, a number of options for lenses as well. Although I must say the quality of the Z lenses really does outperform any of the f-mount lenses on the Z cameras. So
the 24 to 200 outperforms 28 to 300.
Yeah. Like hands down.
Levels. Yeah.
The primes, like the 20mm 1.8 Z versus f-mount, is a huge improvement. The 24 1.8 is better than the 24 1.4G f-mount lens. So we can make comparisons all day, but basically these Z lenses are better performers. Although if you've already got a whole stock of AFD lenses, then it is frustrating not to be able to use those. Norm did say, check whether CF Express mod will prevent further use of XQD cards. I think he mentioned this to me the other day, or someone else did. I really don't know why that would be the case, because the D6 uses either or.
Yeah.
So it would be so bizarre if you did a firmware update and then suddenly couldn't use all your old XQD cards. So I sincerely hope that's not the case. But we're still waiting for that update. Steve started with a Zenit B. There you go. Now, Drazen says that the grip buttons are confirmed. Confirmed. Confirmed by who, Drazen? Who have you got on the inside, huh? Tell me.
From the source.
For filmmakers, built-in ND filters or an FTZ with ND filters. Really? Is that an important thing? I'm not a
Well, no,
filmmaker.
it is important, but I'm not sure if that will happen, because they will have to charge extra for
like
this.
a premium for that.
But who mentioned the buttons on the grips confirmed?
Drazen.
Okay, so Drazen works for Nikon then. Okay, Drazen from Nikon, thank you very much.
Heard it here first. Or an FTZ with an inbuilt teleconverter. So everyone lens sets. I don't know that would be helpful, though, because what if you don't want a teleconverter? That's the question. What we do want is more lenses that will take the teleconverters.
Yes.
We want the 100 to 300. Is that what it is? 100 to 300? I always forget the focal lengths of the future lenses. And the 200 to 600?
200 to 600,
yeah,
yes.
That's what we want. We want those so that we can actually use the converters on more than just one lens. Actually, what I'd really like is more 70 to 200s.
And more teleconverters in stock.
In stock, so that we can
now
actually give them to the poor people that have bought them. So now, Andy says, don't need higher frame rate, 24 frames per second. This is literally what video mode shoots.
I think that will go this way, just because they like high numbers, they like the new model to outperform the old one. So it's more of a marketing thing. Mm-hmm. So just the bigger the better, and that's just the way the marketing works, unfortunately. So It's nothing to do with photographers, I would say.
That's right. And John says that the Fuji does shoot 16-bit.
Okay, well, that's a medium format then.
Yeah.
So again...
So it's down to the size of the sensor.
I guess the bigger sensor, something to do with that.
Yeah, exactly. Roy says Canon have a filter slot in their adapter.
That's nice.
Ooh, that's fancy. So, a few years back, Tetsuro Goto, who is the designer of the DF, and he was also the original designer of the F4 camera and many, many other Nikon cameras, had worked for Nikon for over 40 years. He did say that they do talk to each other, like the manufacturing brands, because they all work on the same street.
Yeah, they don't ignore each other.
They don't ignore each other. They don't send the mailman over to try and pick up a piece of paper off someone's desk and then see what the designs are.
So
they actually talk to each other. So
like real people to real people. Yes. Okay.
So there's always a chance that, for example, Sony have a 61 megapixel sensor, Canon have a filter slot in the back of their adapter. These things are all entirely possible that Nikon might adopt them. At the same time, they might want to go a different way, and what can we say? I don't understand why you wouldn't want to put an ND filter on your lens. Like, what's the problem?
No, it's for the video thing. It's so you can use one lens, and let's say if it's a bright sunny day, you can just kind of press on the button and it just goes in there. So it's a feature for videographers. In a way, I think it probably will be reserved for professional video cameras for videographers. So we may start to see it in DSLRs, but again, I don't think it's kind of the top feature they will try to implement. But who knows, in the future, you never know.
Yeah, from what I've heard, the Z6 Mark II is supposed to be pleasing for videographers. Like, the idea is that whatever it is that has it in it is going to appeal to the videographers.
Will look more pleasing.
Yes, you will look more
Z6
pleasing.
Mark II.
I'm kind of intrigued to know what that means. I'm not going to say where I heard that. where I heard that it might be. But definitely the kind of point of interest was for video work, the videographers are going to love the Z6 Mark II.
Well, we have more new video features as a feature.
As
feature
one
list.
of the,
Yes.
the features are that there are more features. And Norm's, thank you very much, Norm, for clarifying why ND filters are important.
Yes.
I learned something today.
Yeah, we've been ignorant because we're not video users. But
No.
it's absolutely something that, I think the more we kind of, like the new cameras, they get more features in. So I think it's kind of one of the important features to have because you can introduce more people from video side of things because those cameras tend to be very expensive.
Exactly.
So
You're still doing it. And then,
our video is stuck again.
It's not. It's just you being silly. Interestingly enough, we didn't really... Our YouTube channel and the videos that we were recording actually kind of took off, and we started doing more videos when the Z cameras came out. They weren't related to each other. It's just a happy coincidence that we've shot most of our videos either on something like a D850 or a Z6.
Yes.
I think almost all of them have been shot between those two cameras.
Yes.
So when Michael says, why not just make a video camera? Well, I don't think Nikon necessarily want to make a video camera specifically. They want to stick with stills, but they want to make it as appealing as possible to videographers. So there you go.
I agree. I think Nikon is not in that position that they can have a video line separately from their mirrorless or SLR line.
No, it would require an entirely new, like if you know how cameras are designed and how that whole process goes, that would require an entirely new building with a lot of staff between the designer guys, the engineer guys, and then you've got the specialists, and there's big teams that work on these
Once they
cameras.
start to talk to each other, the magic happens.
That's right, exactly. The problem with the Nikon video option is that you have nowhere to go if you wish to upgrade. Canon have the C line with the EF mount, and now the C line with the RF mount.
Yes. I agree with this point, but
Okay.
at the same time, Nikon is a photography company
Yeah.
to start with, so Canon has a past of producing video cameras for videographers.
Yes.
Nikon doesn't have it. Nikon is a much smaller company.
Yeah, and it's also primarily a glass company. Bear in mind that they have a robotics section, they have like a microscope and medical use optics department or division, if you like. So the Nikon corporation, if you want to hear, it's called Nikon Corporation,
Yes,
isn't it?
Nikon
That's its
Corp,
official name. Has lots of other things that it does. Canon produce printers, and they do have a history of producing video cameras. And what else do they produce apart from stills cameras? They produce printers. Yeah, printer paper and printer inks. But they have their stuff, and Nikon have their stuff. And there's a lot of things that we don't talk about. For example, week before, I went to Nikon's robotics company, which is Mark Roberts Motion Control. They have some very, very interesting trailers. If you have a look at Mark Roberts on YouTube, you'll see some of the stuff that they do. But any of those film sets where you need basically the same view of a film set recorded several times. Take, for example, for those Marvel fans out there, take the final scene of Endgame, for example, where you have like thousands of actors, right? And
Yes.
there's lots of CGI, obviously, but you will have maybe a set of 10 actors. They can't all be in front of the green screen doing their thing at the same time.
It's just they can't afford a big green screen.
It's not that. And sometimes you'll need people to do costume changes, and you'll need the same camera motion to be recorded up to like 200, 300, 400 times. So what the robotics department do is they actually make these massive robots. Some of them are bigger than this room to record that footage.
Some of them are bigger than me.
Some of them are definitely bigger than you. They are very, very large. And also those kind of 3D renders where you create avatars for video games or for adverts. All of that requires robotics. Nikon cameras are what they use for that. So D5s, Z6s, and now D6s and stuff. Sporting events, all that kind of stuff where you can't necessarily have a person behind the camera.
Can I drop the mic now?
Yeah.
They're using Nikon. Boom.
They're using Nikon.
Yeah.
But they're a Nikon company. So that was a really long way of me saying that they also concentrate on other things. And
Really long sales speech.
It's really long. Yeah, that's right. Nikon robots.
We strongly believe that all brands are great.
Mm-hmm.
So we use Nikon. That's what we like. All other companies do wonderful things with their cameras. And in terms of this, I would personally say if I would ever let's say, would get into professional videography, maybe I'll, use Canon camera for that.
Yeah.
Maybe I can afford Irie,
Or-
probably never, but or what's the American one?
You've
that,
got Red.
The Red,
yeah.
Maybe I'll get Red. That's the thing. We believe in all brands, so Nikon is not better than that one. They're all very good, and again, they're tools, and what you use is the most important thing.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
you like personally, because technically you can shoot a good job with D70.
That's right.
So
you could shoot magazine quality print with a D70. It has been done.
But that's me and my TED talk.
No, it's good.
It's
all about you.
It's all about you.
It's not about the equipment necessarily. Baxter mentioned earlier, actually, you just need to improve your technique. It doesn't matter what camera you buy.
That's the thing. So it's
always
not
gonna be the
about
case.
the console wars. Like it's not PlayStation and Xbox. It's not Canon versus Nikon or vice
Not
versa.
even anymore.
No, absolutely not.
Because also you got
It's not
Sony.
about Canon. It's about Sony nowadays.
It's about Sony.
But the idea is we like all brands.
Yeah.
So, but we like Nikon as well, and it's not about that Nikon is better than the other one. You choose what you like and what you like to use, because they all can deliver amazing results.
That's right. But we, just to clarify,
But we like Nikon.
but we like Nikon.
And Nikon is the best.
Peter says he's used a Nikon since 1975. Are there other brands? Never had reason to look. But that's kind of the thing, isn't it? It's like if you're happy with what you've got. This is turning into a very different stream.
That's right.
But if you're happy with what you got, then
Forget about
change.
Z7 Mark II.
No, there's more
okay,
information.
I'm sorry,
Actually, I have one here.
You got a spare one?
I've got a spare one. So dramatic. So Anthony asks a very relevant question. Do we have prices yet? No, we don't. But I would speculate that, and this is pure speculation, that the Z6 Mark II would be at least around the price mark the Z6 was when it first came out, probably a bit more. So we're looking at over 2.5 for that one.
The same as RRPs or more?
Yeah, exactly. The original RRPs. And the Z7, which was originally about
3499.
I don't know if it was 3299. So it would probably be just under 4, I'd imagine. If they put a new sensor in it, it will definitely be closer to 4. If they stick with the 47 megapixels, 46.45, however many it's got.
45.7.
45.7, there we go.
Yeah.
It will probably not sort of peak at 4,000. It would be closer to around 3.5 or just over.
I think it's easy to say that all new products will be high in price, and that happens to all cameras and all lenses.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing that someone else very knowledgeable I spoke to earlier said was that probably apart from video, speed of operation, so just ultimately the way that the camera operates would become faster. If you're a Z6 or a Z7 user and you get a little bit frustrated by delays from one thing to another, turning the camera on has a distinctive delay. It's maybe half a second, not even, but it's there.
There's not much lag in the viewfinder, is it? Because
No.
I haven't noticed anything.
No, I haven't ever had a problem with the viewfinder at all. Someone else also mentioned earlier, would you be able to use the viewfinder and the back screen simultaneously, like change your AF points on the back screen and use the viewfinder?
Oh,
at the moment,
I
it
see.
switches.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
It would drain the battery. I know that for sure. But
And I think that's one of the limitations we have nowadays. The batteries are too small. I
yeah,
would say.
we need to be a bigger battery. Now, just changing tack slightly on the subject of streaming and other things that Nikon are doing. So Nikon was it like a month or two ago, they released the beta software?
Yes, and then the last week they released the Windows one, and then last week they released the one for Mac.
So let me just explain what this is. This means that you can connect up one of your compatible cameras, which is basically anything from the current range, to your computer. Now you can also hook it up to a Mac as well as a PC, and you can use the camera as a remote video recorder. So for example, for streaming, at the moment we use, I don't actually want to touch it because we had a little moment of frozen video earlier, but a capture card, which is basically a little box like that. They vary in price. I've got like a 720p one, which cost about 30 quid, and then we've got the 4K one, which costs just under £200. So they vary dramatically. Some of you might know the brand Elgato. That's no, not on my computer. Go and get a thing quickly before we have another accident with the stream. Good lord. Can I have that? There we go. And this, folks, is why you don't have coffee while you're streaming. So basically, now Nikon have made it so that you can actually stream using your... Don't turn off the stream while you're doing it.
And that's why we're not allowed coffees on
That's
set.
right. That's why we can't have nice things, Con. That's why we can't have nice things. So that means that now you can use your compatible Mac with the current operating system to live stream with. So that is something that we're going to try out. We're probably going to do a video on it and see how we do. Maybe next week our live stream will... I don't know why you didn't bring the whole roll before. Maybe next week we'll do our live stream using the software.
And the new computer as well.
New computer. Good Lord. So if any of you have any thoughts or ideas on that subject, let me know. I would be very intrigued to see if any of you have used the new software. As I say, we are going to do... Sam says... Men, I roll.
I roll. I know. This is my last time on the stream.
He's not coming back next week. I won't allow him.
I will be fine.
Feel free to drop them in the comments. I'd be very interested to read them. Also, if you have changed over from Nikon... Oh no, it froze again. Darn.
The Soviet Union is close under your legs.
The mouse got upset about life. And I don't know if it's working.
Can I try?
No, don't touch it. Whatever you... Don't touch it.
It's like...
It's stuck. Yeah, it's all stuck. Oh, they say we're back. Except,
And we are back.
yeah, I'm probably going to have to shut down. I'm back. I'm going to go.
Yeah, so thanks so much, guys, for joining us. This is my last time on the stream ever.
Because...
It was nice to know you. Yeah.
Because I'm going to have to shut down the computer now that we spilled coffee all over it. So thank you very much for joining us. We do very much appreciate it.
On next stream, we're going to have some explosions.
No explosions. The mouse did not like the coffee. So anyway, loves the real moments. This is good. Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you. Take care. Have a good weekend. Bye. Oh no, I can't end the stream. It won't let me end it.
That's going well.
Oh, brilliant.
Hold on.
You're not allowed to touch it. This is the best.